Welcome to the darkest corners of your imagination, where fear knows no boundaries. This is Mr. Night Scares Story, the home of spine-chilling tales that will haunt your dreams. Here, the night comes alive with stories of unspeakable terror, from cursed forests to haunted houses, from lurking shadows to untold urban legends. We bring you nightmares you'll never wake up from. Are you brave enough to face what lies ahead? Once you enter, there's no turning back. Subscribe now, if you dare. And remember, every story you hear here might just be true. Mr. Night Scares Story, where fear becomes reality. Story number 1. The night shift at Walmart. The sky was bruised black, and thunder rolled like distant growls of some hungry beast. Rain pelted the parking lot, washing away the last remnants of customers as the Walmart Supercenter in rural Oklahoma prepared to close its doors to the public. Inside, the overnight crew clocked in, just another graveyard shift in a near-empty store. Mike, the night manager, stretched his tired limbs and adjusted his name tag. Lisa, the cashier, sighed as she settled into her register. Rob, the stalker, dragged his feet toward the back aisles, headphones in, already lost in his music. And old man Henry, the janitor, muttered to himself as he mopped the already spotless floor. The automatic doors hissed open. Everyone turned toward the entrance. A man walked in, soaking wet from the rain. He wore a dark hoodie, his head lowered, and his shoes left muddy footprints on the tile. Lisa forced a smile. "Welcome to Walmart." The man didn't respond. He moved down the aisles, his pale fingers trailing along the shelves. Something about him made Lisa's stomach tighten. Then, without a sound, he disappeared. "Did you see where he went?" Lisa asked Mike. Mike frowned. "Security cameras will tell us." They checked the monitors in the back office. The man had walked straight down aisle 12, but he never came out. Lisa leaned closer. "Where the hell did he go?" Mike sighed. "I'll check it out." Aisle 12 was eerily silent. Rows of canned goods stood perfectly still, but something was off. The air smelled strange, damp and rotten, like something had died. Then Mike saw them, footprints, wet, black footprints leading deeper down the aisle. He followed them cautiously. They stopped in front of the stockroom door. Slowly, he pushed it open. Nothing, just stacked pallets and shelves filled with inventory. Then, bang! Something heavy fell behind him. He spun around. Rob's headset was lying on the floor, but Rob was gone. Lisa was checking out the last customer, a trucker buying energy drinks, when she heard a crash from the back. She grabbed her walkie-talkie. "Rob, you okay?" Silence. "Mike?" Static. She turned to Henry, who was still mopping near the bathrooms. His grip on the mop had tightened. "You hear that?" she asked. Henry didn't answer. His eyes were locked on something down the hallway. Lisa followed his gaze. The bathroom door was wide open. The lights inside flickered. Then a figure moved. Lisa barely saw it before the lights cut out completely. A deep, guttural whisper filled the air. "You're not supposed to be here." Lisa ran. Mike finally made it back to the security room, heart pounding. He rewound the footage. Rob had entered the stockroom. He stood still for a few seconds. Then his body twitched violently. His head snapped toward the camera. His eyes were gone. His mouth stretched open in a twisted, unnatural grin. Then, in a single jerky movement, he crawled up the shelves and disappeared into the darkness. Mike slammed the laptop shut. A low whisper filled the room. "He's still here." Lisa and Henry ran toward the front doors. "Come on! Come on!" Lisa pounded on the glass, but the automatic doors wouldn't budge. The power flickered. The intercom system crackled. Then, over the speakers, came Rob's voice. "Aisle 12. Now!" Lisa screamed. "We have to get out of here." Henry grabbed her arm. His voice trembled. "This happened before," he whispered. "They covered it up. The Black Friday massacre." Lisa's stomach dropped. "What?" "Years ago, during a midnight sale, employees went missing. They built over it, pretended it never happened. But it's still here, and it's hungry." Lisa turned back toward the store. The aisles were changing. The shelves stretched impossibly high. The overhead lights dimmed, casting long, unnatural shadows. And then she saw them, figures standing in the aisles, motionless, watching. They looked like customers, but their faces were wrong. Mike wasn't coming back. Lisa knew that. She grabbed Henry's arm and whispered, "We run on 3. Henry nodded. 1, 2. Before she could say 3, the figures moved. They rushed forward, arms outstretched, their faces melting into twisted grins. Lisa screamed. They ran, dodging the things clawing at them. Lisa grabbed a fire extinguisher and hurled it at one of them. It shattered like glass. Then came the laughter. It echoed through the store, growing louder, more distorted. Lisa reached the back exit. She fumbled for the emergency latch. Then, a hand grabbed her shoulder. Cold, bony, wrong. She turned. It was Rob, or what was left of him. His jaw hung unnaturally low, his eyes gone. His skin stretched too tight. Then he whispered, "Stay with us." Henry yanked Lisa free. He shoved her through the emergency door just as the power cut out completely. The storm outside was gone. The air was eerily silent. Lisa turned back toward the building, but Walmart was gone. The massive store had simply vanished. Nothing remained but an empty parking lot and flickering streetlights. Lisa collapsed, gasping. Henry stood beside her, his face pale. "It's over," he whispered, but Lisa wasn't so sure. She looked down at her hand. She was still holding something. A Walmart receipt. Total $0. Cashier, ROB. "Thank you for shopping with us." The ink on the receipt bled into something else. A single, final message. "See you next shift." Story number 2. Aisle 13. The store that eats people. Walmart in Red Hollow, Tennessee, was like any other. Fluorescent lights, overstocked shelves, and tired employees pushing through late-night shifts. But something was different about this store. Something wrong. Employees whispered about the back aisle. The one corporate refused to renumber. Aisle 13. No one stocked it. No one cleaned it. No one spoke about it. And no one ever went in. Until one night, a new employee broke the rule. And Walmart ate him. Josh was 19, broke, and desperate for work. When Walmart hired him for the night shift, he didn't ask questions. He just needed the paycheck. Rule number 1, said Marcus, the overnight supervisor. "You see something weird? Ignore it." "Like what?" Josh asked. Marcus just shook his head. "You'll see." The other employees, Janine, Carl, and Rico, avoided him. They kept their heads down, stocking shelves in nervous silence. By 2 a.m., Josh had had enough. "Why's everyone acting like this place is haunted?" he joked. Marcus shot him a warning look. "Because it is." Josh didn't believe in ghosts. But then, the shopping cart moved. He had been stocking paper towels in aisle 9 when he heard it. A slow, metallic squeak. The cart, rolling, but no one was pushing it. Josh froze. The cart stopped at the end of the aisle. For a moment, nothing happened. Then it turned, rolling toward him. Josh backed away. "All right, who's messing with me?" The cart slammed into the shelf. The impact knocked a pack of toilet paper onto the floor. And then, Josh saw it. The label read, "Stock in aisle 13, chapter 3, the forbidden aisle." Josh frowned. "Aisle 13, he muttered. "There is no aisle 13. He checked the store map on the wall. Aisle 12, aisle 14, no aisle 13. But when he walked toward the back of the store, there it was. Aisle 13, blackened, empty. The overhead lights flickered. The shelves were wrong. They weren't stocked with groceries. Instead, they were filled with things that shouldn't exist. Expired milk from 2004. A row of identical VHS tapes labeled, "Do not watch." A child's missing person poster, dated 1986. And the smell rotting meat. Josh turned to leave, but aisle 13 wouldn't let him. Josh sprinted for the exit, but the store had changed. Aisles stretched infinitely in both directions. He ran past aisle 14, then aisle 15, then aisle 16, but they just kept going. The store was growing. Josh turned a corner and slammed into Marcus. Marcus grabbed his shoulders. "You idiot! What did you do?" I don't know. I just walked in." Marcus paled. "You saw aisle 13? Josh nodded. Marcus whispered, "Then it's already started." A sound echoed through the aisles. Slithering, dragging, wet. Josh turned. Something was crawling out of aisle 13. A shape tall, human-like, but wrong. The skin was pale and stretched, its limbs too long, and its face blank. No eyes, no mouth, just empty skin. Then it spoke. "Stock. The shelves." Josh ran. He followed Marcus, weaving through endless aisles. "What's happening?" Josh gasped. Marcus pulled him into the break room, locking the door. It happens every few years. A new employee stumbles in, and the store wakes up. Josh was shaking. "Wakes up?" Marcus nodded. "Walmart isn't just a store. It's a thing. It eats people, traps them inside. Aisle 13 is its mouth." Josh's stomach dropped. "Then what the hell was that thing?" Marcus's face darkened. "That was Carl." Josh froze. "What?" Marcus's voice shook. "The people who get taken. They don't die. They become part of the store." Josh didn't want to be here anymore. He bolted for the exit. But when he reached the doors, they were gone. Just a blank wall. Then a voice on the intercom. "Attention Walmart shoppers. All employees report to aisle 13. Josh turned. The thing was waiting for him. Its voice was a perfect copy of Carl's. "Come stock the shelves, Josh." Josh grabbed the nearest object, a price scanner, and swung. The scanner shattered against its head. But it didn't react. It just tilted its blank face. Then its skin peeled back, revealing rows of grinning mouths. Josh screamed. Josh ran, but the aisles stretched forever. Shelves moved. The floor rippled like it was breathing. The store was alive. Josh tripped, slamming into a checkout lane. A receipt printed from the register. Josh's eyes widened. The receipt had his name on it. Total $0. Cashier, Josh. Thank you for shopping with US. Then darkness. Epilogue. The morning after. The next day, Walmart opened like normal. No sign of Josh. No missing person reports. Just a new employee, another teenager desperate for work, and a brand new aisle 13, waiting, hungry, and ready to stock the shelves again. Story number 3. Walmart. Open 24/7. At exactly 3 a.m. in a small-town Walmart somewhere in Texas, the doors opened on their own. But no one was there. The store was supposed to be closed for renovations that night. No customers, no employees, just a silent, empty building. But the cameras told a different story, because something had walked in, something that wasn't human. And by morning, half the employees were gone. Tina hated working the night shift, but rent was due and she needed the money. It was just supposed to be her, the janitor, old Bill, and her 2 co-workers, Jeremy, the lazy stalker, and Diane, the manager. The power was partially shut down for renovations, so the store was darker than usual. Still, everything seemed fine, until the doors unlocked themselves, and the lights in aisle 7 turned on by themselves. Jeremy scoffed. Damn, wiring's busted again. Diane frowned. That's not possible. Power's cut to the front doors. Tina glanced at the security monitors. She saw the doors slide open, but no one came in. The timestamp on the footage read 3 a.m. And then, as she watched, one by one, the aisles started changing. Tina grabbed a flashlight and walked toward aisle 7. But when she got there, it wasn't aisle 7 anymore. The overhead sign now read, Aisle 34. She frowned. There's no aisle 34. The shelves were wrong. Instead of groceries, they were stocked with things that had no business being there. Expired meat, dated from 1996. A row of stuffed animals, all missing their eyes. A single, rotting birthday cake with candles already lit. The air smelled like old blood. Then Tina saw something at the end of the aisle. A man, standing completely still, watching her. Sir? Tina called, stepping forward. No response. She lifted her flashlight, and her stomach dropped. The man was facing the wrong way. His back was turned to her, but his face was still visible. His twisted, grinning face was where the back of his head should be. Tina stumbled backward. The thing tilted its head. Then, in a deep, distorted voice, it whispered, "Clean up." In aisle 34, Tina ran. She sprinted back to the front, heart pounding. But Diane and Jeremy were gone. The registers were abandoned. Only old Bill remained, staring blankly at a wall of security monitors. Tina grabbed his arm. "Bill, where's Diane? Where's Jeremy?" Bill didn't look at her. His voice was flat, emotionless. "They went to stock the shelves." Tina followed his gaze to the monitors. The security feed showed Jeremy and Diane walking into aisle 34, and then the aisle swallowed them. The shelves twisted and stretched, folding in on themselves like a giant mouth. And then they were gone. No screams, no blood, just empty shelves. Tina grabbed her radio. "Diane? Jeremy? Where are you?" Static. Then laughter. Not normal laughter. Layered. Garbled. Wrong. Tina turned to Bill. "We have to get out of here." Bill slowly turned his head. And then he grinned. But it wasn't his grin. His mouth stretched too wide. His teeth were too sharp. And his eyes? Completely black. Bill whispered, "But Walmart never closes." Tina grabbed the nearest thing, a scanner gun, and smashed it across his face. Bill collapsed. Tina ran for the doors. She reached the front entrance, but the doors were gone. Just a blank wall. She turned, and the store had changed again. The aisles stretched forever. No exits, no windows, just infinite Walmart. Then, over the intercom, a voice spoke. "Attention Walmart shoppers. Please return to your aisles." Footsteps echoed behind her. Tina turned and saw them, aisles full of people. But they weren't people anymore. Their faces were wrong, mouths too big, eyes missing, and all of them were grinning. Chapter 7. The Final Shift. Tina ran. She turned corners, sprinting down aisle after aisle. Then she skidded to a stop. She was back at the registers, and the store manager was waiting. But it wasn't Diane anymore. It was something else. Tall, hollow, dressed in a Walmart vest. And it had no face, just a name tag that read, "Store Manager." The thing raised one long, bony hand, a receipt printed from the register. Tina grabbed it, hands trembling. The receipt said, "Total $0. Cashier, Tina. Thank you for shopping with US." She stared at it, her breath coming in short gasps. And then, the store lights shut off. Epilogue. The morning shift. The next morning, Walmart opened like usual. Customers walked in. Employees clocked in. Everything was normal. Except, Tina wasn't there anymore. Diane and Jeremy? Gone. Old Bill? Vanished. And a new employee was at the register. A girl who looked just like Tina. But when she smiled, her grin was too wide. And the store sign outside? It had a new slogan. Walmart. Open 24/7. Forever. Story number 4. Roll back to hell. They say everything goes on clearance at Walmart eventually. Even people. It started with a simple memo from corporate. "Attention associates. Do not enter the clearance aisle after midnight. This is not a joke. Thank you." At first, nobody questioned it. Then the night shift crew started disappearing, one by one, until only one employee remained to tell the story. David had been working the night shift at Walmart in Ravens Hollow for 3 years. He thought he'd seen it all. Shoplifters, tweakers, that one lady who tried to return a half-eaten rotisserie chicken. But nothing prepared him for what happened the night his co-workers vanished. It was supposed to be a normal shift, stock the shelves, clean the floors, survive the night. But at 12:01 a.m., the intercom crackled to life. A voice, static-filled and distorted, whispered, "Roll back, roll back, roll back." Then the clearance aisle lights flickered on. David didn't want to investigate, but when his manager, Linda, went to check it out, she never came back. The store was quiet. Too quiet. David grabbed a box cutter and made his way toward the clearance aisle. And then he saw them. Rows of mannequins. At least, they looked like mannequins. But they weren't there before. And they were all wearing Walmart uniforms. David's stomach twisted, because he recognized one of them. It was Greg, the overnight stalker, and his eyes were moving. David stepped closer. Greg! The mannequin's mouth opened. But instead of words, a receipt printed from its lips. David hesitated, then pulled the paper free. The ink was smudged, but he could still read it. Clearance sale, final purchase, item, Greg, 1 unit, total $0. Thank you for shopping with US. Then Greg twitched. His arms bent backward with a sickening crack. His jaw unhinged, and he screamed. David ran. He sprinted toward the break room, panting. But as he turned a corner, he crashed into a shopping cart. It rolled forward on its own, stopping at his feet. Inside was a single item, a yellow Walmart vest. The name tag read, David now 50% OFF. David's breath hitched. His hands began to tingle. He looked down. His fingertips were turning plastic. The intercom crackled again. A voice, ancient and mechanical, whispered, all items must be sold. The clearance aisle mannequins turned their heads in unison. Then they started walking. David bolted, his half-plastic hands barely able to grip his radio. Help, he screamed. The store is alive. Static. Then, a single reply from the intercom. Price match guaranteed. David reached the front doors, but they were gone. Just a blank wall where the exit should be. He turned. The store manager was standing there. Tall, hollow. His face was a price tag, and it peeled itself open to reveal an endless, black void beneath. A receipt printed from its chest. David forced himself to read it. Final transaction complete. Total. 1 employee lost. Thank you for shopping at Walmart. And then, the store swallowed him whole. The next morning, Walmart opened like normal. Customers walked in. Employees clocked in. But no one noticed the new mannequin in the clearance aisle, dressed in a yellow vest, with a name tag that said, David, and if you looked closely, you could see his eyes moving, still screaming. But Walmart had a no-returns policy, and some sales are final.